completely decided since this is a new year, we were going to do a New Year's kind of focus type of thing here. So a lot of us have goals that we set at the new year, right? Like we join a gym, we get excited, we want to make certain changes in our life, but what's going to help us create and make those changes? A lot of times we fall short because we are not able to set goals appropriately. Most of us are looking at goals to get a feeling out of it, right? So when it really comes down to it, the genuine reason why we want to do something is we want to feel better about ourselves, or we want to feel better about the way that we look in the mirror, or we want to feel better about the work that we do, or about our financial state of being, whatever it is, we want to feel better. The problem is, and one of my favorite quotes is, feelings aren't facts. Okay, so just feeling a certain way doesn't mean it's going to always stay that particular way, right? So it's our human nature to go from like one pleasure to try to seek to another pleasure to try to seek to another pleasure. So that's one of the reasons that motivates us. But I will tell you that, seeking pleasure is a great motivator, but you know what is an even greater motivator is avoiding pain. So for instance, the story that I've heard about it is, all right, so there's a caveman, right? So our kind of instinctual minds, there's a caveman and he wants to reproduce with this really hot, Jane or whoever is like way down on the other side of this valley. But in the middle of the valley is a bunch of tigers and lions and bears and things that are going to kill him, right? So most of us, most of the time, are going to just stay in place, okay? However, if those lions, tigers, or bears were behind him, that would push him into this pleasure thing. So when it comes to motivation, human nature actually is going to be motivated by avoiding something, and I know it's negative to think about it that way, but it's actually going to be avoiding some sort of pain versus some sort of pleasure. So when I sit down and I meet with a new client, one of the first things I want to talk about is what's motivating you. Really what I'm doing here is I'm gauging, are you ready to change right now or not? I need to get some, we call it a gold nugget. Okay, the reason why it's called a gold nugget is because A, it's valuable, and then B, it's hard to find. It's deep, right? So when you're digging for gold, just like, oh, here's a big gold, and maybe if you're lucky, but most of the time you have to dig a little bit deeper into, why? We become 3-year-old philosophers and we ask the question, why do you want to feel better? What makes you feel better about that? Why does that, whatever it is. And so we have to find this, gold nugget. And most of the time the gold nugget is because there's some intense pain that they feel every single day. So being in the fitness industry, a lot of people might feel an intense pain every single time they walk past the mirror, right? So it's perception is reality, right? So whether or not they're out of shape, they perceive they're out of shape, and that creates some sense of pain. So if they have enough pain, they will change. And they will change no matter what. Okay? And this is hard. This is super duper hard, because do you know the success rate of people who have lost a significant amount of weight keeping it off for 5 years in percentages? What do you guess? Huh? What do you guess it is?
That keep it off in 5 years? 20%.
Oh, you're way overestimating.
I was trying to think.
2%. So this sucks. As an industry, we really suck. What I have found personally is when I meet people like this who have a very, very strong gold nugget, I'm just going along for the ride. I'm just your GPS system, right? Like you were going there anyway, you're gonna get there, rain, shine, tidal waves, anything like that, right? So you're gonna get there. I just so happen to be in the right place at the right time, and I can help guide you there in a more direct path, right? However, I would say a majority of clients, right, only 2% or 6%, majority of people, they've got this, okay, but it's just it's just not enough. It's not painful enough. So if I were to say, like, what would you sacrifice to get there? Like, well, you know, and we all feel it at the time, right? I don't think people are lying. They're saying, like, well, I'll do anything, right? Like, I'll turn down this pizza and I won't drink this beer and, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, saying that in a room when you're really bringing up this pain is one thing, but, you know, when you're tired and worn out and you've had a long week and you're stressed out of your mind and you're getting ready to pull your hair out, you know, and, like, you just want some sense of relief from the stress of your life, right? Then tell me that you don't want that pizza or that beer or something like that, right? Like, in those particular times, the pain of your just general existence can be numbed immediately by food, right? Or by consuming something. So we end up using this to avoid this. And that's why weight loss is so hard, is because our lives are so stressful. And so when stress happens, our nature is to, like, all right, I've had enough. I cannot take this anymore. I choose, and it's always a choice, right? So we're going to talk about control here in a minute, but it's always a choice to choose what goes in our mouth. Since we're talking about it, let's go into the 3 things that we have ultimate control over, because I believe that's what human existence is going, you know what? I don't have control over this universe. And that scares the bejesus out of me. But we do have control over 3 things, okay? So the 3 things we have control over have to do with our mouth, right? So it has to do with what we say, what we eat, and the last one is the amount of effort that we put into something. Okay? However, with effort comes vulnerability, right? So oftentimes we don't put forth as much effort as we could possibly do it, because if we do it and we fail, then we go, oh, I tried my hardest and it wasn't enough. So we oftentimes kind of hold back a little bit on effort, because if we fail, we can go, well, I would have been successful if I had done this harder, right? You may or may not have been, because it takes a lot of courage to put forth all of the effort. So this is one of those things, and the thing with effort is you can't control the outcome of your effort. So you can work really, really hard, still lose, right? It's like the Super Bowl. 2 teams get together, and I promise you, they're both putting forth 100% effort. One team has to lose, right? And that sucks. They did their best, but you know, they still lost. But what we do have control over is what we say and what we eat. I'm gonna come back to that because I'm jumping all over the board. We're gonna finish this SMART goal setting aspect. All right, so having all of this kind of established, motivation, we're motivated by pleasure and pain. You know, we have to find this gold nugget, and feelings aren't facts, okay? So I know we want to have this feeling, but this feeling is associated with some tangible measurement. It's like I said earlier, our perception is reality. So sometimes we need to have these reality checks, right? So it can work on both sides of the spectrum. I can have clients who think like, oh my God, like I work so hard and I just know that I'm way fatter. Like I just feel fatter, right? And I'm like, okay, like maybe that feeling is not true. So that's why we can associate progress with, all right, well, you know, what's your pant size? Okay, what's your waist circumference? What's your body fat percentage? And what's your weight? Right, so these are all tangible measurements of whatever their particular goal is, right? So again, New Year's resolution, fat loss is generally a particular goal. So you could say, I feel fatter, and you might be right? Your pant size might have gone up, your waist circumference might have gone up, your body fat and your weight may have gone up. Or you could say, I feel fatter, but pant size, waist circumference, body fat, weight, they all went down. Okay? Well, what's true? Your feelings or the 4 tangible measurements that we have? Your feelings aren't facts. So we want to associate, which is SMART. So SMART stands for specific and measurable, right? Some people say the A is something, some people say the R is something. I'm going to go with attractive, right? So obviously if you want to accomplish your goal, it needs to be something that's super attractive to you. Realistic can't be like, I want to be Madonna. It's like, well, you're not Madonna, it's not gonna happen. And then there has to be some sense of urgency, a time-bound goal. Like, if I just say, I just want to lose weight, I don't want to put a lot of pressure on myself. I just want to lose weight, and it's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle change. So I'll get there eventually. Okay. What I have found, right, is, as idealistic and as beautiful as that theory is, it doesn't work. Another one of my favorite sayings is, isn't it always sad when a beautiful theory is ruined by an ugly fact? So sometimes, the theory of, I'll get there eventually. Well, the fact is, you probably won't. You have to give yourself a timeline. You have to give yourself some sort of like event, right? A date that will come in order for you, and no matter what, if you change or if you don't change, you're going to have to be vulnerable in that particular situation, right? So for instance, let's say I want to lose weight, and then one of my kids' weddings is coming up in June. Okay? So I met with a client, and he said exactly this. He's like, well, this is my third daughter who's been married. He's like, and I did not want to see any of my pictures. Me and my wife didn't order any of the pictures from my wedding because I just felt too fat. Dude, that sucks, right? Like, that's really sad that you feel that way. Do you have control over it? Yeah, you do, right? Because you can speak more kindly about yourself. You can obviously eat better, and you can put forth a little bit more effort into your health and wellness. And so on your final daughter's wedding day, you can achieve your goal. So you're going to get to the wedding day, and you're either going to be successful, and maybe not 100%, but to some degree, right? Or you're going to be a failure. Right? Maybe not a complete failure, but to some degree. So this event is going to happen. They are going to get married June, whatever the heck it is. He's either going to be successful or he's going to fail. Do you think he's going to be more motivated to do this than if it was just like, if the event was eventually? Because we can make excuses for eventually, like, oh, it's a lifestyle. I can't just do this for the rest of my life. Okay, let's get here, guys. We have to be able to get here. So what we need to do is we need to pick out a goal, right? Which usually has to do with a feeling. I want to feel better. What would make me feel better? If I lost weight, if I had more energy, if I this, that, and the other, right? Well, how can we put a tangible measurement to that particular feeling? And we pick tangible, measurable things. Make sure that they're realistic, right? So we can't just say, well, I want to be, 3% body fat for the rest of my life. Oh, not going to work, right? So we have to make sure that it is realistic, and we have to put it in a realistic timeline. Like, can I lose 30 pounds sustainably by June? Yeah, I can probably lose 30 pounds sustainably by June based upon how much weight I have to lose. If I have 100 pounds to lose, yeah, I can lose 30 pounds. If I only have 30 pounds to lose, we might get pretty close to that, right?